Am I building an umbrella brand? Am I having for everything I'm building a separate name? Now, this is the question I've asked myself today because I'm going all in with multi-passionates. Well, before I thought I would do this with ADHD-preneurs, but since I got a couple of times the feedback that people resonate with the symptoms, but they're not diagnosed, and a lot of people are also not thinking about getting diagnosed, I was thinking I'll stick to what I said the previous 3 to 4 years, which is multi-passionates. Now, before I started the Passion Goes business show and Instagram and I had a website. But I feel like things have changed. I have changed. Everything has developed. And I would like to hone in and own this keyword. Because one thing I learned in marketing is you want to own a keyword. And so my short tail keyword is multi-passionate, and the long tail keyword is multi-passionate, or personal branding for multi-passionates. And that's what I'm doing and what I'm living for. Now, I have bought the name Multi-Passionatepreneur today, and I'm really excited. And I came to the conclusion that I have to come up with a rebrand. And that's due to the fact that I hired a social media manager. I'm currently in the onboarding phase. And because of that, I have to create systems in literally every area in my business. I used to be a solopreneur. I tried to build a business the entire time by myself, but also hiring someone, and it was really not working out for me. But now there's someone, and I'm so excited, but it also comes with a lot of work and decision making. I had absolutely no idea that I have to create so many systems and workflows, and I have to decide on things like deciding on tools I'm using and dedicating to them and be like, okay, here's the onboarding for that tool, giving, that person logins and all those kind of things, alone coming up with a posting plan. I had no posting plan in place, y'all. Again, I have ADHD. Going the flow is kind of like my gem of doing business. It worked for now, but we came to the point where it won't work right now. I need to get to the next step. And the next logical way would be having someone that makes me be consistent online, right? But with that comes, I need to come up with a social media strategy. So when are we posting what? On what platform? Creating formats and having everything in place, literally. And that also not only comes with social media, it also affects the entire business of the products I have laid out, the lead magnets I'm creating, the links I have, where whatever has to go into, because the person, as a social media manager, you also have, of course, responsibility with, we are feeding the funnel. We have the OCP, this is how I call it, original content piece. I don't know if this is a normal term, but in-house we call it OCP. So we know, okay, there's this one original content piece, and then we break it down and see what else are we going to do with this. Now, there's the term umbrella brand. So what is an umbrella brand? It's basically like Apple. You have Apple, and you have the iPad, and you have whatever. I had before an idea which is Edmori, which is my initials, and it will be Edmori.io, it will be Edmori Show, it will be Edmori Society, Edmori Conference, Edmori whatever. So Edmori, and then whatever comes behind, that's an umbrella brand. You basically have this one, name, and then you pack whatever you have next to it. And I think if you have multiple products and you want to have everything consistent, that is a beautiful way of laying out your business. Now, but if you're at the very beginning stage of your business, I don't think I would super highly recommend this thing. I think, testing things out. And as we are multi-passionates, our ideas are all over the place. So dedicating to this one name, I think it takes time. It at least took me some time. And so I had Passion Goes Business. It used to be okay, Passion Goes Business Show, Passion Goes Business Academy, Passion Goes Business whatever. But now I outgrew that name. And now my membership is called the Human Branding Society. I love that name. People love that name. And I have now multi-passionatepreneur.com. That's the new, my keyword and what I want to own. Now the question is, also, by the way, we have the podcast show. Hello. And that's the Passion Goes Business show, because I was when I now have the membership, which is Human Branding Society, I would take the own name, Passion Goes Business, since I don't have a dedicated platform or website for that or Instagram account for that anymore. I love the name. Let's, rebirth it through the podcast show. But somehow now having Multi-Passionatepreneur, I'm thinking, am I going with Multi-Passionatepreneur as the entire brand and building this big movement? Or am I having all these names that everyone then has to associate with me as a person in order to kind of like, what is Passion Goes Business again? What is now Human Branding Society? And then there's the multipassionatepreneur.com. What? And so I made a decision. Drum roll, please. Of course, I'm going with an umbrella brand. But, it took some time to figure out what name, but also what kind of business layout, because I have tested a lot, and so should you. Like, business is about testing, and I would never stop. But now I'm doing the multi-passionate thing now for 4 years-ish. Like, I'm working with multi-passionate / ADHD peeps for like around 4 years, and it's time for me to own it. I mean, people were already like associating personal branding and multi-passionate with me, but now it's like an official thing. And I was always scared to be like, doing it like official with like names and such. So I'm so pumped to introduce you guys Multi-Passionatepreneur. There we go. So I'm building out the website now. I've already created the dedicated Instagram account. I will rename the Human Branding Society, which is weird because I love that name so much, but like maybe for a future project or something. But for now it will be the Multi-Passion. Woo, that's now a change, right? The Multi-Passionatepreneur Society. It's new, right? So my tips for you when it comes to deciding on names, by the way, I have a beautiful toolkit. It's the Naming Mastery Toolkit. You find the link in the description. And I created an entire workbook on what kind of naming strategies are out there. By the way, I also explain, umbrella brand and some other strategies you can use, because we have different types of names. And you have the workbook coming also up with brainstorming. It's like an entire Notion planner. Then you have a prompt list for ChatGPT, but not only that, you also have a ChatGPT I created that you can use. It's only accessible if you have the Naming Mastery Toolkit. You can come up with your names and the dedicated prompt list. Like, I literally explain how you use the custom ChatGPT, and then you can come up with dope names. Like, I feel like I'm Mrs. Namemaker. I love the names I'm coming up with. I mean, I feel like this is a common ADHD thing. People love what they do so much, like passionate. That's why I call my members from the Multi-Passionatepreneur Society the Passionpreneurs, because we are just passionpreneurs. We're just passionate about what we do and passionate about us and our very multifaceted brain. Anywho, if you are thinking of having a structure in the name and the way it sounds, I feel like it should be staying in people's brain. And let me give you a little deeper dive into how I think when it comes to names. So it has to be something that people remember. It should be unique somehow. Maybe it's a bit controversial, or it just says what it is, but it should be maybe in a nice way shortened. Like now it's like MPP, or before it was PGB. Like the sound is pretty easy. And then for me, I like certain names and letters. So I like M, N, B, everything that is a little bit more soft. And I love everything that has a Y at the end. So I think I have 16 or 18 ChatGPTs that are working in the back end with me in my business. And let me look at the names, because let me open it next to meanwhile I'm talking. I love Y's. Like my cats and dogs, it was always Lily, Bobby, Lucy, Amy, Pippi, and my ChatGPTs are Lily, Lucy, Amy, Emily, Debbie, Sandy, Telly, Cindy, Lila, Lilia, Haley. Okay, we have an Amanda here. And the other ones are literally saying what they are, like finally launch, bootcamp, mastery, naming mastery, chat, and so on. But those are more for my members, or like, my shop. But like, Debbie, Sandy, Tally, Cindy, like I love the Y at the end so much. So society, or M, multi, I at the end. Like, this is already my personal preference. And then of course, do you want to already explain what you're selling? Should this already be included? Should this be a word game that is like, for instance, Snap Snapchat. It says what it is, but it's easy to remember. And it's like, it's easy on the tongue. It's not a tongue twister. It's like Snapchat. Snap. You would know, you would snap something and you chat. Like, super easy. And then there are some names that are a bit abstract, like Kodak or Canon, but there's also a strategy behind. Again, in the naming mastery toolkit, I go more in depth in there about those different things. But what I want you to think about in this episode is I want you to think about the long-term goal. So for me, I want to create a platform. Seeing it really as a platform and a movement I want to create. I want to make, especially femalepreneurs, multi-passionatepreneurs, a lot of them will have ADHD. Not everyone who is a multi-passionate, by the way, has ADHD. But I want to embrace the multitude. I want to create a space of being unapologetic about it and being proud of what comes all with this. Because people are always seeing the negatives, but there's so much positives. We are superheroes. And I stand for this 1000%. Of course, there are challenges. Challenges are everywhere. But let's be proud. What the heck? So, yeah, you can tell I'm really passionate about this topic. Passion is my favorite word. I even came up with a character, Hardly. She's a heart. Maybe I blend it in here in the video. But it's the word passion and the passion heart with the flames and everything about passion. I'm a very passionate person, and I see that for the people who I attract as well. They're very passionate about what they do, but they feel lonely and they feel overwhelmed and frustrated and sometimes sad. But we can turn it around and we can build something super unique and something that, has an impact. So that's my big why I'm doing this. So you need to understand, where do you want to go with this thing? With this, whatever you're building. Is it just a product, or can it really become this big movement, right? And so this is also something we can learn from the Apple branding. Apple, yes, Apple is the brand, but it has multiple sub-brands, like Apple TV. They have dedicated departments for that, dedicated, people who are leading these areas. And this is how we can see this as well. Having my membership is one sub-brand, and then having my show is one sub-brand, and this is how it could be treated. And now you can say, okay, but I still want to maybe treat, and this is your own preference, everything under your own name. I could say Adriana-Morena, but I'm saving my personal name for something else that comes in the future at some point. I'm really believing it will. So I'm saving that name for that. Means I have no option to take my personal name, but I have the option to still create a different brand and treating it as that. But you can also say, you know what, I'm staying with whatever, Passion Goes Business Show and Human Branding Society, and then I have Multi-Passionatepreneur.com. And then also you have the opportunities to sell them at some point. You have the opportunities to, individually from each other. You could sell your podcast show. It's a thing. Podcast shows make a lot of money. They can. And so you can do that with your website as well. You can do that with your program or product. And this is kind of where you want to think about. Do you want to sell this at some point? You can do that. Do you want to be associated with that? Real personal branding here, 100%? Or, those are the kind of bigger pictures, also how to lay it out. For me now, from my perspective, I feel since my people are all over the place, calling it Passion Goes Business Show and Human Branding Society and Multi-Passionatepreneur.com, I think over time this could be very confusing and people be I don't know what else you're doing. I want to have everything under one roof. It gives me structure, and I know this will give my passionpreneurs a lot of structure, and it will be easy to find me. It will be easy to have social media handles dedicated to this, and I now can have my own IM.Adriana-Morena Instagram account, and then I can talk about my health journey I'm currently going through, or me documenting having ADHD, being a multi-passionpreneur and a mom on my personal account, and talk about fashion and be sewing. I have my little sewing studio here, doing my jewelry and so on. I'm still a fashion designer still, and I'm never, wanting to stop this thing. But when it comes to this particular business, I want to have a dedicated platform. Now that I introduced my social media manager into my business, I have the opportunity to create finally a second Instagram account and really building a platform here, which again wasn't really an option. That is really my point of view and how I see how to build this. You can create your own personal brand and have everything under your name, your own name. But again, I'm saving my own name for a big project. You can have one name for everything and just have your sub brands below it, like an umbrella brand, or you can have basically a brand for a name for everything. That's really of your preference and the goal you're heading towards. And if you're thinking about selling a product or whatever, I feel like it shouldn't be, especially if you're introducing investors and you really go into this huge thing, I think it makes sense to have a name that you're not super emotionally attached to. So, for instance, having the name or a word game that is dedicated to your own name or to your whatever kids' names or grandma's name, I think it will be hard to let go. And that's always a thing I'm seeing, like looking at other people selling companies, that this is an issue where there's a certain momentum where it's time for you to sell a company if you're like in this industry, but you could miss this path because you're so in love, because of the emotional attachment to that brand, because of the name, or like not only because of the name, but because of the whole thing going on and the name, of course. So a name is a part of your brand identity, and it's really important to come up with something that you totally align and you resonate with. So yes, I'm really excited of what's next myself. And for me now, my next steps are really building the website, renaming my membership. I can't wait to build this out and yes, I'm super excited. Again, this is not scripted. I'm literally just talking out of nothing. There's no script, no bullet point, nothing. I was like, this is a topic, maybe people feel like be interested in this, and I'm really documenting here. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not trying to pretend to be anyone or be like the number one digital marketer or what. No, I'm just literally documenting my journey on building this platform and being a multi-passionate / ADHD / mompreneur. Wanting to create a big impact in the society. So I hope you would like to join my journey. If you will, I would love for you to subscribe on YouTube if you're watching, or follow the podcast show. Can't wait to connect with you guys. By the way, you can always reach out to me on Instagram DMs or in the Multi-Passionatepreneur Society. See you then, guys.